Hello, it's Melinda from Scrapbooking&Craft, just coming on today with a demonstration of one of our new products for August, which is our stackable stencils. So these will be up on our website as you're watching this video. So our stackable stencils, we've got two sets, and I'll show you the sets in just a minute. Just using some Dilutions paint to add a background to my altered book, so I have something to stencil over to make it look a bit more prettier. I love working in altered books, it gives it a really nice effect. Hence why you've got the words, and the brown tape down the middle is just holding the book together, and you barely see that after I've put paint all over it. So the idea of the stacking stencils is you can, as the name suggests, stack on top of each other the designs, but you can also move the stencils around to create unique and different designs. So within the set of two stencils, excuse my phone beeping, within the set of the two stencils, you've got the two single stencils, and you've got about 4 combinations of different ways you can put the stencils together. So it's giving that paint a little bit of time to dry, and I will blast it with a hairdryer. Not ideal to use a hairdryer, but when I made this particular video the week before, I had actually blown up my heat gun. It actually caught fire, which is not a good look. So this is the first of our stackable stencils, and you saw the other one just then. So this one has like a squarey diamondy triangle-y pattern and a circle. So I was just trying to line it up. So as you can see, when it's lined up, you can put the circles in the middle of these, what are we going to call them, squarey diamonds. You can put the circles directly in the middle because they all line up accordingly. You can offset the circles, and you'll see me doing that in a minute. So when you're stenciling through stencils, where are my words today? When you are applying paint through a stencil, it's best to do it with a really, really dry sponge. If you have too much paint on your sponge, it will actually leach underneath, that's a good word today, underneath the stencil and make a big gooby mess. I promise I'll get better with my voiceovers from my business. Okay, so this first one, I'm lining up the circles directly over the points of the triangles. So that's one way to line it up, and you'll see when I take that off that the circles are lined up over the points. So this next one, and you can see through to actually line them up. So this next one I'm actually wanting to line up in the middle, so I give it a bit of a flick and make sure I'm in the middle of the stencil. The stencils are semi-see-through, so you can actually see through them. See how that top one and that bottom one are totally different? They give you totally different looks. Now you can also go and do just the dots, or just the squares look awesome as well. I'll just put some dots up the top there. So you can start with either stencil, it doesn't matter which one you start with. You can start with the dots, or you can start with the squares. You can do all of the stencil, you can do part of the stencil. It's entirely up to you. I do suggest if you're doing a stenciling straight on top of it, you just give that paint, the first layer, a little time to dry. It is a thin layer you're putting on, but I just gave it a blast with a hairdryer because the yellow was a bit thicker than the pink that I put on earlier. As you can see, I'm not actually cleaning my stencils when I'm using acrylic paint or ink, and you can certainly do this with distress inks. Doesn't have to be Dilutions paints, it can be any acrylic paint. I don't actually wash my stencils in between the colours. You can if you wanted to, if you want a crisp clean look. So when I take that stencil off, I put it in a different place. So I've actually put the dots across one of the lines, and I'll get a big blob of pink in there, which I try and pick up, but I'll fix that in a minute. So you can see you've got 3 different ways now, and this is a 4th way up the top. So just checking I've got it lined up, and then I decide I've got something on my book I don't want on my book. So as you can see, out of this set of 2 stencils, you're getting 2 single designs, and then you're getting about 4 different combinations of ways you can use the stencils to make your art journal pages. You can also take the first stencil and use paint, and then maybe the second stencil you can go across with pen or paint. And there I've offset the circles once again. So you can line them up exactly and have them really straight, or you can offset them. So just going down the spine now and adding a bit of stenciling just to make the page all over. This is where I leave the page at the moment. I go back later and actually turn this into an art journal page, so it makes an awesome background. But I was just wanting to show you the different ways. So we're coming up to set 2, and set 2 is all about circles and ovals. So just giving that a bit of a dry so I can fold my book over. And there goes my stencil flying. My desk is very full at the moment, so there's a bit of a close-up look. As you can see, there's 4 distinct ways you can use that stencil. So flipping to a new page in my altered journal. This is just an altered novel. Not the best kind of book to use, but I had fun doing it. It actually fell apart from its cover and I'm endeavouring to fix it soon. So just putting some masking tape down the spine just to hold the book together basically. You can use masking tape, or the previous page was actually a paper tape from Daiso here in Australia. So just putting some masking tape down the centre. With the altered novel, I've actually removed at least half the book. You remove every second page if you're using an altered novel, just to allow for expansion and when you add paint and paper to the pages. Otherwise your book starts to look like a big fan. And I've also glued I think 4 of these pages together, just to give it a bit more stability. I haven't actually gessoed or put any undercoat on the pages. I'm just applying the paint directly on top of the page. Hence why I've glued 4 together, just to make it a bit more stable. So giving that a bit of a dry. It was a very thin layer, so it didn't take long to dry. And I'll bring in my next 2 stencils. So just showing you there, the ovals and the circles do line up. So again, you can start with either stencil. This one is the oval. They work great on their own as well. They're a nice basic stencil. Sorry for the shaking of the table. So again, you're wanting a very thin amount of paint on your sponge, otherwise it'll go underneath the stencil and you will make a goofy mess. So now I bring in the circle stencil, I think. Yes, bring in the circle stencil and lining up. So this first one, you can actually put it directly in the middle of the ovals, like eyes, in a way. Again, this is one you can do in about 4 different ways as well. So get creative. I'd love to see other ways that people use these stencils. Or you can just randomly apply one stencil over the top of the other, which looks really cool as well. So I'll go and add some dots to the top right hand corner in just a moment, in a different way. So offsetting, so now I'm putting the pink dots between the purple lines, so you've sort of got an oval, then a dot, then an oval, then a dot. And this one down here, I'm doing yet again a different way to show you that there are several different ways to use this stencil. You can tape your stencils down if you prefer to your page, but I find just holding them with my fingers is enough, and just flipping the stencil up this way and around this way, just deciding which way I want to do it. And I settle with doing it this way. So I've lost my sponge at this stage, it's been buried on my desk. Nothing unusual with that. I do like the stacking stencils because it does give you more variation in your book, and just going down the spine just to add a bit more stenciling. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to see some more videos with our products, and I'll catch up with you again. Bye for now.